team game, of course. It's about this time of the year, with only 2 minor rounds to go, that we start thinking about who maybe will take out the Magarey Medal of 1984. And, of course, that's coming our way soon. In fact, on September 10, that's a Monday night. That'll be seen live on 7 at about 8:30 on the Monday night. Always great spectacle viewing there. Of course, one player we've all been talking about all year. At the moment, he leads many of the media awards. That, of course, is Port Adelaide centreman Craig Bradley. He's been in fine form. I think you'd have to say, at the moment, maybe, well, you may not think so, but I think so. He's the favourite for the Magarey Medal of 84, and probably here's a reason why.
Bradley again, runs it out to Anderson.
Cross to Evans, in turn Martin Leslie out wider still. Craig Bradley, good mark.
Marty puts it out, Bradley a chance. If he can pick it up, they're in business. Back onto the left boot. Oh, he's gone for a check side ball. Evans, mark! With disposal, dead right. Bradley, burst through the pack, on the run again. Has he kicked his third? Yes, he has.
Is Naley Platten it in?
Bradley polled 31 votes in last year's count. That was quite a remarkable achievement, considering he missed, what, about 6 rounds of football because of his cricket commitments. And Peter Market, I think you've already gone down on record as saying he's your choice for the Magarey Medal of 84.
Definitely favourite, Rick, and I think rightly so because of his style. He's so quick, he's devastating, he's sensational when he runs away from centre. He's got all the skills, and I think as appeared in the press today, he's the sort of player that could probably even poll votes when he's beaten by his opponent. He's that good, and I think if you've got all those qualities, you must be a chance. And he is a poll getter, as we saw last year. So I see him as a real favourite here.
Oh yes, Peter. He plays. He's an explosive player. I'm just wondering whether his temperament is going to tell against him, Peter. I've mentioned this a couple of times that he seems to get a little upset out there, doesn't he?
Yeah, I reckon that's the essence of a champion, though, because he's a perfectionist. If things don't go his way, he doesn't like it, and I get the feeling that most champions are like that.
Yes, he is a champion. I'd agree with you. Also, another player, of course, that's got a big chance would be Michael Aish, and Michael's a brilliant footballer. Rick, he won the medal in 1981, and he must have a big chance in 1984.
Well, obviously, of course, he's always one of those players we see star every year. We see him out on the vacant spaces. He gets his nose over the ball, and I think today we're even seeing a typical Michael Aish game. He's the player that's in the bottom of the pack. He's the one that's winning the free kicks, and he's certainly going to poll many, many votes, of course, for the Magarey Medal count in 1984. I think another player who must be in with a great chance, and probably a tragedy that he didn't take out last year's Magarey Medal, and that's Glenelg's Stephen Kernahan. Of course, he topped the poll votes last year, but because of that suspension, I think he was out for 1 week. He was unable to claim that victory honour of 1983, but he's been in great form all year. Of course, he dominates around the ground. He gets high marks. He also dominates in ruck, and well, what more can you say about him, Ian? He's got to be one of the fancies as well.
Well, Rick, I agree. He's a brilliant footballer. He stands out. He's brilliant marking. He's scrupulously fair player. He proved last season that he was good enough to win a Magarey Medal, but unfortunately things didn't go his way. He polled over 40 votes. At the start of the season, he had a few problems because other sides realised just what a force he was. They used to have 1 and 2 players just taking him out of the game. And Stephen had to find himself a little bit to find out what it was all about. But at the end of the season, the business end of the season, he's coming back as brilliant as ever. His marking's there, his ability to think quickly, his kicking is superb. I remember that brilliant 10 goals he kicked against the Victorians, and certainly he is my tip in 1984 to win a Magarey Medal. A brilliant footballer.
Yeah, well, there are plenty of them around, and of course, even if you look at Peter Motely in the Sturt side, now, Peter hasn't really had as good a year, probably, as a lot of people thought that he might have had. And yet, there have been 5 or 6 games during this year that undoubtedly best on ground, certainly from the media. Now, if the umpires saw it that way, well, then Peter Motely would obviously have a chance also, and he's done some fine things this year, as we'll see in these highlights.
Got it now. He's got the ball on the string, Peter Motely. Dives on top of it. He's working hard. Michael Aish the crumbs.
Dirt clear again. Out goes Motely on the lead. Gets underneath the ball. He's got it. Whittlesey couldn't quite get it. Motely can. 40 metres out. Puts it along when the umpire is motionless.
Dives on the ball. Goes for the tunnel ball. That was dangerous as well because Motely got hold of it. McKechnie. Oh, it's going right through.
He's got Whittlesey going. That's a better hand pass. Whittlesey should be able to find somebody here. In fact, he's gone out into the open looking for Motely, who's marked it.
Not a lot up forward, though, Port Adelaide. Again, they're in trouble. Oh, Motely went out. Frost.
Nice looking kick towards Wiseman. Motely over the top. Out wide. Good handball. That is a perfect one. Motely has a casual bounce. Shoots for the woodwork. The umpire barely moves. Put SA into the attack up towards the half-forward line. Standing his man back there with Kennedy. Appears to get in the back. Motely a chance. Handball over. Kernahan said he's 55 metres out. Puts it up in the air. Motely at the back of the pack. It's a magnificent goal.
What a brilliant footballer, Peter Motely, and certainly an outstanding chance in 1984 to win the medal. Well, the other player that must have a brilliant chance also is Central's Johnny Platten, a bounding bulldog. If ever you saw one, we spoke about him at length at the start of the show, just what a brilliant footballer he was. And as we mentioned then, he rode both ends of the ground.
Platten, certainly a great player. I think we've talked about him a lot, and Kevin Neal even thinks he's a good player. If your coach talks about you and says you're a good player in front of the public, that means you've got something.
Peter, he's got so much courage, and I wouldn't think in the old language he'd be much more than, what, 5'6", and he's got that explosive quality, a bit like Craig Bradley, but without the same smooth moving bit about him.
He hasn't got quite the brilliance of Bradley, but his work rate is just enormous. He does some things that players 6 feet 14 stone wouldn't do, and one wonders whether some of that goes unnoticed. Hopefully the umpires are intelligent enough to realise that the things that he's doing are significant, but perhaps they miss a few of the things that he really does. I don't really know.
You couldn't let that hair go unnoticed, Peter. I wonder why he doesn't have a haircut. I suppose well, that's like how he
might be like Samson and Delilah. He mightn't be able to play footy with short hair.
Well, he's got balance there. Have a look at him bouncing that ball as he goes down towards the full forward. But certainly a big chance in 1984 is the bounding bulldog.
Great player, isn't he?
Oh.
What about Naley? Naley's another player. Rick, I think you've probably seen more South games than we have. He's a very good rover. Has his season been as good as perhaps people thought it might have been?
Well, Ian, you're probably right. We've seen a fair bit of him this season, and I think he's been a bit in and out, and I wonder whether he has done enough maybe to be right up there in the Magarey Medal calculations of 84. Sure, he's skillful, he's dynamic, and he's got plenty of pace and dash around the packs, but I wonder if his confidence, of course, he had that elbow injury from memory now. I think he lost just a bit of confidence during that time while he was getting over that, but, well, he's a rugged burrower, he gets in hard, and he's got to be a chance, but there's been several other South Adelaide players that I think have done well as well. Robin White, of course, in defence, and Johnny Schneebeckler, but for sure, Mark Naley's going to poll votes, as he always does every year. And Peter, you're talking about Woodville maybe. We don't see a lot of stars from Woodville, but what about Kevin Harris?
Well, Kevin Harris is an unusual sort of player, but if you think that sort of player can't win a medal, perhaps you're wrong, because you've only got to think back to Trevor Grimwood, that bum up, heads down type of player that bores in. Bum, B-U-M, yeah, bum.
Not quite
really,
bum.
Really bores in, and he's capable of winning a medal, so it's possible. I don't think so, though, Bradley for mine, but there's certainly a great number of Magarey medals out there.
Adelaide's leading solicitor. We'll take a break. No, we'll go back to Rick first.
Thanks, Ian. We can all speculate, can't we, on the Magarey Medal fortunes of 1984. We'll find out on Monday, September 10.